Cool. Well, welcome everybody to a special board meeting of the Irvine International Academy. Today is March 10th, and we're starting at 7:30 p.m. I want to begin with roll call of our board members that are present. And I'll just go ahead and call your name, and if you'd signify you're present with us. Starting with Brett Freeman.
Present.
Thank you. And Glenn Rogers.
Aye.
Miller Zhang.
Aye.
Oh, there you are.
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you. Dr. Jolene Smith, I believe, is not here yet, but I'll just wait for a moment. Dr. Smith. Okay. And then Doug Hewson present. Ethan Kay.
Present.
And Dr. Edward Watson.
Here.
I want to welcome also our staff members, parents, and then our authorizer and representative as well, Maureen Cox. Tonight, we're going to have an extended closed session, but prior to that, we have on the agenda public comments. These can be about any topic that's not on the agenda. We usually reserve the public comments for agenda items before the agenda item. And so if you want to talk about the agenda item, probably be better to wait so it's fresh when we're discussing it, but I'm not going to preclude you from it. Time may be of the essence for you, and you want to get your comment in now as opposed to later. And that's fine. I don't mind that actually. But we won't be responding. You know, these are one-way comments, but we're taking notes and we take everything offered to heart as well. Our time limit is about 30 minutes total, and we'd love to afford each person 3 minutes. Mary Beth will usually let you know when the 3 minutes has arrived so you can finish the thought or the sentence. And then if we expire the verbal comments online, if anyone submitted a comment by Google form, Mary Beth will read those on behalf of the person that submitted those. With that in mind, if you have a public comment, could you signify by raising hand? Another way you might do that to get Mary Beth's attention is to sometimes unmute and get her attention, but the hand is the best if you can discern how to use the software for that. Mary Beth, when you're ready, you can take them in sequence, and the board will take notes and take in what each shares.
Okay, I'm just looking at my screen right now, and the first one is Tongyeon McNally. Go ahead.
Hi,
Welcome.
think this pertain to your agenda item just before you guys vote. This is a reason, this is also for all the audience, why we need to change. Okay, the analysis of our board, parents representation 28.57%, Irvine residents 14.28, one representative. Okay, one female, all the rest 6 are male. And here is a report card. We are all getting report card from our children. Okay, for throughout the year, that's a result. Board member Jolene Smith made attendance record is 55%. She missed close enough half of the meetings. And board member Zhang Jian, Miller Zhang, attendance record is 65%. And then it gets better. I guess maybe by attending today's meeting, board member Miller Zhang can improve her attendance record a little bit. And this is before you vote, and also for all the parents here. That's the reason we need to change. And also at this point, I'd like to ask all the board members on the record state where they are zooming from. And Mary Beth can take a record on that. Thank you.
Legal.
Okay. Victor, go ahead.
Thank you. Good evening, IIA board. After the OCBE meeting last week, a group of parents wanted to follow up on the recommendation to send out a survey to gauge the amount of parent concern. I will share the preliminary results of the PTO survey. I believe the results of the PTO survey will mirror the results of the school board survey. The PTO survey used Qualtrics software to capture the responses. We gave one survey per household, regardless of the number of children enrolled at IIA. The answers are anonymous and family must respond to all questions to minimize non-response bias. 141 out of 236 surveys have been returned as of this morning, a 60% response rate. That has gone up to 66% as of this evening. The polls close out tomorrow night. I will review the responses to a few of the 10 questions. A final report will be forwarded to the board along with parent written feedback. Do you agree that the issues in the combined 6 Mandarin teachers complaint letter regarding Executive Director Scott are important to address? 90% agree, 5% disagree, 5% unable to answer. Do you believe Executive Director Scott's recommendation to hire Ms. Rocker as DOC was a good decision? 84% disagree, 6% agree, 10% unable to answer. After her dismissal, Ms. Rocker is getting paid $10,000 a month while on administrative leave. Do you feel the money would be better used for other needs in the school? 79% agree, 12% disagree, 9% unable to answer. Earlier in the year, Executive Director Scott decided to pay $26,000 to purchase musical instruments. Do you feel it correctly reflects the needs of the school? 67% disagree, 60% agree, 17% unable to answer. Do you think the actions of Executive Director Scott remain a concern for your decision to stay at IIA? 78% agree, 11% disagree, 11% unable to answer. Which of the following best describes your situation for the next school year? 33% of families who've answered plan to stay at IIA, 4% will not stay at IIA, 72% are looking for other options but are still holding their IIA spot to see if any changes are being made. The results speak for themselves. Of the responses received, 6 families are leaving, 102 families are waiting to see what changes are being made. Please consider the number of families that will leave IIA if changes are not made soon. I suspect there are teachers that feel the same way too. I know a lot of people in the lottery for enrollment next year also are seeing what will happen with IIA before making their final decision to enroll. I hope the board does the right thing to ensure the future of our school. Thank you for your time.
Okay, Edwin, go ahead.
Hi, board. Thank you for this opportunity. I just heard what Victor said, so I just kind of want to piggyback on that real quick. I also know several prospective families that are looking into joining next year, but are also awaiting what happens this year and how the school year turns out. On that note, I just wanted to ask if you guys could take this into consideration. I know it's not necessarily what you might be talking about tonight, but last week at the Orange County Board of Education meeting, there were a lot of issues that were addressed by the Orange County Department of Education director had raised. So I was just wondering if that will be updated to the school in somehow, possibly tonight, if anyway. I did also want to point out, I don't know if maybe this will be discussed later with the closed session. I know the closed session tonight states employee related matters. And so related to that, I'm not sure how much information will be disclosed to us after you guys are done with that closed session. But one question I just was hoping might be an update that you guys are discussing in there is an update on Ms. Rocker's status. And I know that last time at the PTO open forum, it was mentioned that she is on paid administrative leave. So I'm just curious if that's what the closed session is. Obviously it doesn't say that in the closed session, but since I guess she is technically still an employee, it sounds like. So just curious if that is going to be something in the closed session, or maybe I can just tag onto that, whatever is discussed in the closed session. If you could try to explain a little bit more about what you guys discuss in there, I think that a lot of the parents might be interested in that. So that's all. Thank you very much.
I think that's all we have.
Thanks, Mary Beth. Any submitted by our Google document in writing?
Yes, there was, and it was from Mrs. McNally. I don't know if Mrs. McNally, do you want to? I think she already went today, so.
Or was she? She was on.
No, it's regarding the Wonder Kid. I guess we can discuss further.
Okay, Philip Chen.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hi. So thank you, Victor, for giving us a very quick scope of what the results are. I think all the parents who got both surveys are wondering what the results are. I think for a long time that a small group of parents are the voice in these board meetings. And I think we really have no idea as a parent, just kind of listening to them, understanding like how many parents feel this way. And I think the survey is a good idea to understand that change needs to be made. Because for a long time, I hear, hey, we're a divided house. The numbers speak for itself. It's not a divided house. It's not even close. I think the board needs to really consider the impact that one person and some board members have made on the school. And under the duties of the board, written on the IIA website, part of your duties is to promote the public face of this school. And so far, I'm worried for the future of this school based on the results. You have almost half of the parents in this school ready to go and leave the school. And so please consider it. Thank you very much.
Perry, on.
Hi, I did see that there was another survey created by the board, and I know you guys can't answer right now, but I would like to ask if it can be or if it will be released after the survey is completed for the board version of the survey. So just wanted to add that comment in.
Polly Chen.
Hi, mine is more a question. I went to the previous meeting and then I saw the budget for FTE for administrative staff remain for 2 people for the next several years. So I assume that's the executive director and principal. So I'm just wondering if the board is considering putting budget on hiring director of curriculum in the future. And so the Orange County Board of Education committee also raised this question if IIA is able to hire a director of Mandarin curriculum and a director of curriculum. So would the IIA board member consider putting budget this time to post ad and ask for applicants for these 2 positions? And I have this question because Principal John before said it wasn't budgeted and there was no budget for this position, and it seems that there is a need for it. Thank you very much.
Okay. Next is Peace.
Right now we have 2 different surveys. One is from PTO and one's from admin. I feel the one from PTO is not really fair, the way the questions asked. So it's really difficult to answer. The way the survey is formed seems to be very biased. I think the one from the admin is better, just feels more fair. And another point is that I feel there are a lot of parents that are angry. They made up their mind. One side is wrong, one side is right. I think in the beginning, when I see the letter, I also feel very emotional. But when I learn more about it, there's different side of the story. So I just hope everybody be open-minded to see what's the real story and don't be too angry about it. Thank you.
Jason.
Thank you, Mary Beth. Yeah, I just want to follow up on the results of the survey that Victor talked about. It's very clear, the consensus and the huge majority of the parents, what they want. And I think that, yeah, individually we could speak for our 3 minutes and we can make a case. However, the numbers speak for themselves. It's obvious what needs to happen. There needs to be dramatic change happening at IIA for the benefit in the future of the school. And think about also the reputation of IIA. This is the first year, and what we have seen as evident through the results of the feedback that we've gotten from 60% of the parents indicate that there is a major problem. It's a crisis of leadership that needs to be addressed. I really hope that the board can demonstrate its own leadership in making the right decision and represent the majority of the parents' opinions as evident in the survey about making the changes that are needed. Thank you.
Go ahead, Alex.
Thank you. Thanks for allowing me to speak. So I was quite struck about the results. I wasn't going to speak, but when I heard from Victor about the results on the survey, I'm quite concerned about not just the fact that there's actually this huge majority from the parents stating that they want to leave IIA. I mean, I was hearing the numbers. We're talking about more than 30% of the people wanted to leave. I think the board really need to address the issues. It's not as simple as just sweeping it under the rug. I think, the board really needs to act on it. And I think I want to talk to Dr. Scott, who might be on the line. How do you react to such information that's presented earlier on? Would you want to resign when you hear something like this? I understand the fact that you have—
Alex, hold on one moment, please. Thank you. Sorry to interrupt you. You can address the board, but not Dr. Scott.
Sure.
So talk to us, but you can mention him, but
Sure.
correctly.
So
Sorry about that.
I would argue whether or not that the superintendent would think about whether or not that these results would impact how he wants to see his role at IIA. I think consciously as an educator, as administrator, you want a better good for the school. You got to think about how parents actually see the current situation. Now, there were some parents earlier on said, and I forgot, was it one or two, said that, whether or not the survey was biased. I did both surveys, okay, as an academic person. I've done both surveys and I look at the way how the questions are structured. To be frank, both surveys are fair. They are being written in different ways. One provide a lot more preamble, more information so that the questions actually give context. The other one is very direct. It was like whether or not that somebody was confident or competent in doing certain work, which is fine because that's more of a perception. So it's just a matter of how the questions are being written. I don't think that any of these surveys are biased. I appreciate that both IIA and the PTO drafting the surveys. But anyway, I really want to hear from the administrators and the board. How do you respond to these concerns from the parents? Thank you.
Okay. Is there, iPad? Go ahead, iPad.
Hi, so as a parent, I have to admit that the current students that are enrolled at this school, because, I did come in the mid-year and they're really bright. Like the kids in this school are just really smart. And if anything, I would be really sad to see, I'm like already sad when I hear like some of these parents are leaving because those kids are the ones that make up the school. I mean, some of you board members are probably thinking, just whoever wants to leave, just leave, new kids will come in, but it's not going to be the same if you don't have the bright students, the ones that are academically strong to hold the school and give good, right now our numbers are pretty strong from what Michael Scott said on testing. So, I mean, wouldn't you want to keep these bright students at the school? If these bright students leave and we get like, not so good kids, then the school isn't going to be as great. So, I mean, please really consider, making some changes so people don't leave. Don't think just kicking everybody else that don't want to be here, that the school's going to get better. If anything, then the bright kids are going to leave to better schools and our numbers, our testing scores aren't going to be as high. So that's something to consider, please. Thank you.
Anthony Chung.
Hi, board. How are you guys all doing today? I actually didn't even realize there was a PTO survey. I thought that was kind of interesting, and I didn't realize that there would be a separate survey from the board itself. And looking at the number of surveys, clearly it's accurate. I mean, there was a parent before that said they may not be so accurate, but clearly the p-value is enough where the survey is accurate. There's enough surveys that went out there, and the majority of parents clearly agree. Now, I want to piggyback off of what Alex said. I thought he was very articulate about what he said, and I totally agree. And also what Edwin said too. Hey, Doug, I'm going to address the board directly, and then also you directly as well. You are part of the board, and you're president of the board. Clearly, the parents are pissed off, and the surveys say that. I remember your letter previously when you replied to the teachers and parents, you said, a small number of well-meaning parents mischaracterize the board's intentions. Clearly, it's not a small number. It's a huge number. And I think the board needs to take this seriously, because if the board does an accurate and fair survey, I suspect it will reflect exactly what the PTO survey says. It would be basically a mirror image. So I think it's a wake-up call for the board. You guys need to do something. Thank you.
Okay, Dill? Is it D-O?
Oh, that's me. Hi. Yes. I haven't really commented before. I've been listening in and trying to understand all of the issues going on at the school. I'm a fairly new parent here. I just wanted to say though that I got both surveys. I started the PTO survey and I had to quit because I found the questions to be directed and quite loaded, honestly. And I didn't really feel it reflected my concerns as a parent. And so I just kind of stopped answering and I didn't submit mine. So there might be parents like that too, representing the numbers. I did find that the board survey gave me an opportunity to reflect my concerns a little bit more. But I'm coming into this pretty neutral. I don't really know a lot of the issues going on, but I did find that first survey to be directed one way or the other. Like one person, it was like, are you really sad that they spent this money on that? Were you really happy that this money was earned? It was kind of like, I don't know the whole story. I don't know everything going on here. So I really didn't like it, I have to say.
Jonathan, go ahead.
Jonathan, as you begin, and I think it's on or Ann after that, we'll hit our time maximum, but I want to get both of you in, please.
Go ahead, Jonathan. Okay, on? You want to go ahead on?
Hi, thank you for the opportunity. Oh, okay, now I can see. I think next time when we send out a mass survey, it'll be appreciate if someone can review the both translation in Chinese, because I found some of them doesn't really match. The question, basically the question is not asking the same thing, So I appreciate in the future if it get reviewed and vetted and make it a little more objective. Then it's full of, it's very obvious. Yeah, it's kind of lopsided in terms of the data they intend to collect. And some questions are I'm like, I don't know, should I say yes or should I say no? So I just say no answer. So just a suggestion. Thank you.
Doug, should we take one more?
Yeah, make it very poignant, please.
Okay.
These
Right,
I plus.
Yes. V, go ahead.
Hi, everyone. I guess this is my comment is related to the survey and some of the parents' comments that I've heard so far about the fact that they might not know of all of the issues that's at hand and they're not sure about the survey. I think that for the PTO survey, there was a section where it says you could choose to answer not sure. I think they do provide that as an option, for people who say they actually didn't go ahead and complete the survey. That is possible answer choice for you when you're not sure about the situation. Thank you.
Oh, I should say ambiguous question.
Okay, I think Doug, I think that's it. Doug, you're muted.
I forget that sometimes. Thank you. Thank you all to parents and public comments as well. We do have closed session next. invited in the closed session are our board members. I noticed our HR director is with us tonight, Rachel Carrillo. If you would stand by, we may invite you. We want to extend an invitation to Maureen Cox with Orange County Board of Education. You're not obligated, but if you'd like to join us in closed session, you're invited to hear the subject matter as well. But if you can form our room for us, and then parents and others attending, it's 8:06. At 9 o'clock, we'll resume open session and deal with the action items and discussions that are left on the board. It is recorded. And so if it's too late, I know your families have school tomorrow. It is recorded. And so you can view the recorded posting at your convenience if you have to drop off.
Hi, Mary Beth.
Hi, Brett.
Hi, this is Nick. Is this
Oh,
the
Nick,
same link?
yes. I will, yeah, I will move you. Hang on.
Thank you.
And then Mary Beth, sorry, I missed, I heard my name, but my son was also.
Oh, yeah, Rachel, when they need you, I think that I'll put you in the room.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Mary Beth.
No problem.
Looks like
Hello.
Dr. Smith joined as well.
Yes. I just came in. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay. I'm now on. I apologize. I just got done with another meeting.
We're just about to join the closed session, just waiting for the invite.
Okay.
I'm putting you in, Mark.
Dr. Smith, are you still there?
I am here. Do you hear me?
What's your screen name? I'm sorry, can I find you?
Let's see here. I don't know. I'm on my phone right now.
The doctor. Okay, got it. I see it. Okay, doctor. Okay, got it. And then Nick Driver, right? Okay. I'm here. And I just invited you to room one. And Maureen Cox.
I already invited her in.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our recording.
It
Okay.
started.
Welcome back, everybody, after closed session for our March 10th special board meeting. Reporting out of a closed session, which was dealing with employee matters, the board has voted to schedule next Thursday on the 17th with 72-hour notice, a board meeting at 6 p.m. to take action in public session regarding discipline and possible changes to our executive director position. The proposal or the motion was made by Doug Hewson, seconded by Dr. Jolene Smith. Brett Freeman voted yes. Glenn Rogers, yes. Miller Zhang, yes. Dr. Smith, yes. Myself, yes. Ethan K, yes. And Dr. Edward Watson, yes. And unanimous. Parents, thank you. We know that you waited a long time. And what we do in closed session then has its expression in open session. And there's a few moving parts. And so next Thursday, you will hear what was decided in closed session as it needs to be reported in session. We appreciate everyone's patience, not only tonight, but also bearing with the board for a week as we prepare for that as well. Continuing on then with our, I'm going to lead, if I may, in a pledge of allegiance. You may participate if you like. And so I'll place my hand over my heart. You may say along with me if you like the pledge. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, under God. Under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Sorry, got mixed up on that one. Needed a cue card, to be honest, at this late hour. I will ask approval of the last meeting's minutes. It's only been a short amount of time, but is there a board member that would motion to approve minutes from our last meeting?
Yeah, I motioned it, Doug. I can through it.
And second was
Ethan.
looks like Ethan beat you out. And so let me do a roll call then to accept minutes. Brett Freeman. Aye. And Glenn Rogers.
Aye.
Miller Zhang.
Aye.
Thank you. Dr. Smith.
Aye.
Doug Hewson is a yes. And Ethan K.
Yes.
And Dr. Watson.
Yes.
Thank you. By the way, for observers, when we do telephonic appearances like this, we have to do roll call even when it's unanimous. So if you're wondering why it's a little bit tedious, it's just a rule. Moving on then, in case we have to do telephonic appearance again in the next 30 days, which it looks like we will next Thursday instead of an in-person meeting, could I have a motion that we approve a future meeting by abbreviated teleconferencing procedure during the next 30 days, according to the rules written in Assembly Bill 361. Do I have a motion?
Ethan motions.
Thank you. And it looks like Brett is second. Thank you. Roll call vote. And on that motion, Brett Freeman.
Aye.
Glenn Rogers.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Thank you, Dr. Smith.
Yes.
Doug Hewson's yes. And Ethan K.
Aye.
And Dr. Watson.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Okay. We have on our agenda an action item to approve the contract of an after-school Wonder Kids employee. Technically, we approve these types of individual contracts after the fact. They're given to employees with the condition the board will approve. In this case, it's just a replacement of an after-school worker. We have one worker that his employment's come to an end and a new worker starting. I don't anticipate discussion on it, but because it's on the agenda, any public discussion for approving the replacement contract? Thank you. And it's within budget, nothing changed in budget, but it's perfunctory to approve it. So I'll ask for a motion to approve the replacement contract. Actually, who is that? Oh, Dr. Smith has a motion. I'll second. And then roll call vote. Brett Freeman.
Aye.
Ben Rogers.
Aye.
Miller Zhang.
Aye.
Dr. Smith.
Yes.
Doug Husen's a yes. Ethan Kay.
Aye.
And Dr. Watson.
Aye.
Thank you. That allows Kara Gallardo, our principal for after-school programs, to move forward. Okay, this is very interesting. And again, parents, thank you for going so long. I'll remind you it is recorded for your convenience as well. I'll ask Ethan in a moment to share what happened with our financial committee and our work with Delano Jones. And for us is during the school year 2 times, we will adjust our budget based on the knowledge we've gained in the months that have passed. One was done in the fall. Now with all the months that have passed since our fiscal year began July 1, we have much more information. And we've prepared a budget that forecasts how we'll finish the year. That will be presented to Orange County Board of Education. And I'm excited for Ethan to give a summary to the board. I will let you know that the subcommittee did approve the interim budget after the work tonight. But Ethan, would you share a little bit about that? And then I'll just let everybody know item number 3 is canceled tonight. We don't have to do that for at least 2 more months.
Well, wonderful. Thank you so much. So earlier today, the Finance Committee did meet. The primary objective was to discuss and review and approve the second interim budget for the fiscal year 2021 to 2022. And the outcome of it is that, first of all, the financials for the school is healthy this year. There are some more finding to be done, but to just give some very high level numbers, the revenues for this year is based upon an interim budget, which is very important. The anticipated budget for this year will be, excuse me, about $4.4 million. I'm rounding down a little bit. And the total expenditure is around $4.3 million. Again, this is both from an unrestricted and restricted funds, which means it's leading to a profit of around $140,000. That's rounding up. Again, this is both unrestricted and restricted. And where the profit is really coming, even though we had a net deficit in the books and supplies that was originally, for those who have been attending the Finance Committee as well as the board meeting, there has been quite a bit of expenditure done for the books and supplies. However, after sharpening the pencils and extremely hard work by Delano, and he went and identified actual expenses and did a rolling to make sure that each line item is properly accounted for. So though we were, I believe, short around $300,000-ish for the books and supplies. However, our labor costs and other aspects within the budget allows for to help cover the shortfall in that budget. From a P&L, it's right now we are expecting around a profit of around $140,000. One of the major driver is from our after school. There was some further subsequent discussion during the Finance Committee itself, just as a discussion regarding the after school, but that's a separate topic. And regarding the second interim budget, the balance sheet looks healthy. Our cash flows look healthy. The school is anticipated to grow next year. And as a result, though there be more revenue, however, we are also being mindful of expenses as well. And so all in all, the Finance Committee recommends this second interim budget to be approved by the board today. Thank you.
Thank you, Ethan. The motion that I'll ask for then is for this board to accept the Finance Committee's second interim budget that we'll be presenting to the Orange County Board of Education. And thank you for the update on the P&L. It's better than we anticipated with the last report. Could I ask for a motion then to accept Glenn has motion, Brett has second, and roll call vote, Brett Freeman?
Aye.
Glenn Rogers?
Aye.
Miller Zhang?
Aye.
Dr. Smith?
Yes.
Doug Husen, yes. And Ethan Kay?
Yes.
And Dr. Watson?
Yes.
Yeah, very proud of that and the work and the way we're going to finish. It's really encouraging to see. Item number 3 is off agenda now. It wasn't time dependent. We'll get to that in June. Last discussion, and it does not need action, although it's agendized for action if we want to. Dr. Smith and I are part of a subcommittee that is called governance. And the parents have expressed a desire to see additional board members. We've heard them express that in writing and then oftentimes in public comment. Some of the comments are even shared today about board members who live closer. That's one of the desires. One was a desire to see board members who have children in the school. I think one of the surveys was board members who are native Mandarin speakers or have learned Mandarin. So we heard the requests of parents, and the board, is a responsive board. It's a board-led school, but it's responsive to parents. It's not a parent-led school, but we want to be responsive to parents. I want to make that clear. We don't change the charter of the school for the whims of the parents, but we're going to respond to parents. And I think you'll see that. And so the discussion is how and how soon we would want to add additional board members, which also gives existing board members at the appropriate time the opportunity to roll off the board for a period of time or even roll off permanently. It's open for discussion. I don't have a motion formed, but I'd love to hear kind of the mindset of other board members. What have you believed about the addition of other board members? What is your feelings about the right size of the board? We're permitted to be 5 to 15. Just open discussion at first, and then I'll follow on last with what I've done and what Dr. Smith has done, and even some work Edwardson has done in the process. So Brett, what's been your feeling about stability of the board as it exists, expansion of the board, change of board members?
So I think the board is excellent, in my personal opinion. I think some of the information that's been provided, some of it's accurate in terms of board representation, and some of it's not accurate, which I can appreciate. But I hear the voices. I think what concerns me most is the process by which we have an opportunity to view those that are interested in joining the board, what values they can bring to the school that are in line with the school, with the initiatives that we're trying to do with the school. I think that process is really important, because the point we decide we want to bring someone on, I think, is almost too late at that point to say, okay, anybody can apply. We really should have a process by which we can engage parents in a way and see which ones are really able to support and the benefit of the school.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Who'd like to be next? Anyone else? Glenn?
I think we've seen the value of adding board members and parents to our finance committee, right? We added in Peter and he's been a tremendous help, right? So I absolutely think we should get parents onto the board. I think that would be a very valuable aspect. Whether the number is 9 or 11, I think either will work. Of course, it needs to be something in the odd area, right? Because in order for us to do board approval, it has to be an odd number.
It's nice to have an odd number, that's for sure. And as you and Brett illustrated, the pathway is, it's not singular, and it currently is rather informal. The idea has been that we would discover interested parents through their participation on subcommittees or with our parent-teacher organization, the PTO, or coincidentally, just by communication. So they could come in a number of ways, but once we have candidates, you know, the part about how we formally interview them, expose them to the board members, that's a little looser at the moment. Right now it's informal gatherings, Zoom calls, things like that. So that we could sharpen up so that we have a process that's fair to all, but also involves the board members. The board members ultimately choose. The subcommittee can recommend, you know, we're the finders of potential candidates, but the board is the one that collectively extends an invitation to come onto the board too. So Edward and Ethan and Miller, we'll hear from you and Dr. Smith.
Yes, of course. I've been a long advocate for trying to get parents on the board. We have a couple parents on the board now. That's a minority. We have a couple people of color on the board now. That's a minority. We have a couple of Chinese speakers on the board now. That's a minority. So we're a minority in all those areas in which our parents, which represent the diversity of our school. So I think we, sooner than later, and I think really the question is, you know, when is it happening, as opposed to like if it should happen, more like when is it happening, sooner the better. And as far as the number, I agree with Glenn, odd number 9 or 11, depending on how the makeup or if the makeup of the board changes at all in the coming months.
Right, right. Who'd like to go next? Ethan, you're unmuted.
Yep. Echo everything with Brett, Glenn, Ed has said. The one thing I do want to add is that, you know, having different perspectives and not to agree to disagree in a civil manner is also very important. Unfortunately, in today's environment, personal attacks has just been, and this has been very, very unfortunate. It's been pervasive to have, we had our differences on certain particular issues, but we can explain it with our perspective of the logic and just to be able to agree to disagree. And I think that's what's really healthy for any organization, including for IIA's board. And so the one thing I do want to think about is that this board should be, it should be a working board. You know, clearly there have been board members who have put an extremely a long amount of, have put a lot of, sorry, I'm starting to mumble, a significant amount of time during the formation, and they should be absolutely recognized as well. And now during this beginning school year, there's other board members who are taking up the mantle, but otherwise this should be a working board. And before roll up your sleeves and really get involved and really participate. And that, I think that will be quite healthy. Even though we may not all agree on have unanimous decision of certain topics, but we all bring different perspectives and we should respect that. And so that's looking forward to, and I think the addition of such individuals will be very healthy for the school.
Oh, very good. Thank you. Miller, how about you and then Dr. Smith as well?
Yeah, well, since the beginning, 3 years ago, yeah, and for the idea of forming a bilingual school or immerse. So I think even till now, I'm the only Mandarin speaking board member, and definitely I consider that this is the benefit and then to listen to be. But of course, my disadvantages is far away. But my heart just really appreciate what IIA is established and is going, and definitely support the above suggestions from all the board members. So if it's adding on, and I probably appreciate the people that with more objective, more supportive, and also I think language and culture can be considered and needs to be considered. But I think I'm still feel that the board should be not lead by parents, but I would be helping and support the parents, and then support a student, and then creating a great environment for students to learn, and then to learn not just knowledge, but I think also character. So I think this is one of the most important things in today's world, that we need to build a safe environment, and then also for our children to learn the best from our leadership. So yeah, I probably say that inviting more board member, more constructive, more supportive, that would be a great idea. Yeah.
Thank you, Miller. Dr. Smith.
Yes, I would recommend too that we do add numbers to the board. I do think it's important to have board members who are local. I think it's important for the board members to be able to be invested in being able to be on campus and to also have live meetings there. I am a little bit more opposed to having parents on the board. I'd rather have them on the advising teams to the board. But that again, that's something that the school and the school board can, give more cause and reason as to why I have a parent on the board. The other part is my recommendation for the size of school would be no more than 9 members on the board. But that is, again, my preference, and right now keeping the board small. I think decisions can be done a lot better. There's more cohesiveness and a greater amount of ability to collaborate without too many voices in that. So, but again, the variety on the board, I do think is important. So, yeah.
That's good input. And you're right, size of board, a board of 5 is very efficient. A board of 7 works well. A board of 9 starts getting a little bit unwieldy, and 11 is, it takes quite a bit of effort, but it also gives some board members opportunity when they're ready to roll off. And lastly, gives some board members the opportunity to miss a meeting, even though they're working, if they're truly working. So we have some wisdom to apply there. I've thought, so we've talked a little bit about scope. By the way, this board, I'll just let all who are listening know, this board holds some really amazing capabilities and adds very specific, unique value to the school. Whether or not we're parents or not, the experience level of this board has been instrumental in helping us not only get started, but moving along. And there's no one like any one of these board members. No one has the same background as Glenn Rogers does. Certainly Dr. Ed Watson now, what you've studied and done with immersion, Brett Freeman with your not only normal vocational work, but foundation work and beyond that, similar with Ethan Kay. And then Miller, most don't know your background at all, and it's spectacular and unique. And then Dr. Smith, you dedicated your life to education. You've prepped and trained teachers for years at the university level. Then you run a school for many years. So very, very important board, but sometimes there are pioneers in endeavors, right? Pioneers are the ones that start a work, but then there's others that follow on in the next season. That's true with the start of most organizations. So we're coming up. I've always envisioned myself to be invested with the pioneer work about 2 years. And so that's probably come up or has expired, but I want stability on the board for this entire school year. You know, that's my preference, unity and stability, even though we come out of meetings unified, but in closed session, you know, we say our piece, you know, we argue for our point of view. But I anticipated during summertime to see parents and board members come on. My vision was always a thought that we would see, maybe we would discover that rare gem amongst our parents that adds some unique value that we need and didn't know about. Then we would also maybe have a parent that is parent at large. Maybe it's even somebody that the PTO respects quite a bit, or they nominate and then we evaluate and say, yes, we love this person. And then there just could be somebody even outside our organization again that has a passion for education and brings something unique, like Miller said. Maybe it's a character quality that really we want to emphasize in our school. So that's what I've envisioned, you know, scope, yeah, 9 I love, you know, I'm okay with 10 or 11, but 9 I really love, and then gives us some flexibility. But schedule, I've been thinking, I thought by the end of the year, I want to see summertime training on, you know, Brown Act. I want someone to read our entire charter as they come on. I want them to have been interviewed by all the board members, or at least had a conversation, a review of a personal or vocational resume. That's the pathway I see. And I think within our body, our school body, we have amazing parents. These are professional people, largely highly passionate people, people who have traveled, moms, dads. So I think we have a huge pool to select from, but it has to be the right season for them. It's not always the right season to serve on a board. You know, they're also, our parents are raising children, you know, and that's their first priority. So I'm sensitive. I look at Brett and I think, I know what you're doing. You've got to run a business. You've got your children here. You're doing extracurricular work here as well, and you're serving on the board. So I'm sensitive that you signed up for it. You may want to run from it, but you've done it. Edward, similarly with you, Ethan, you run an organization that's, you know, up and down the entire California coast. So I'm sensitive to the commitment level. I'll just say that. Time frame, would each person just give a you know, a sooner, summer, fall? What are your feelings right now? So long as we use a process that really is worthwhile. I'll start with you, Glenn. What's your time frame in your mind? Edward next, and then Dr. Smith.
Yeah, I think we interview during the summer and we bring somebody on into the fall.
Okay. Brett, your time frame?
I would agree with that. I just hope this isn't a forced thing. I think we
A what?
really should be a forced thing. I think we should really be excited about who we're bringing onto the board, and it not be a deadline that by September we must have, you know, 2 people or 4 people or something like that. That's just my personal view. It really should be a value add for the school.
If we reflect what, you know, are responsive and reflexive of the parents, they would be excited too. So if we're excited, we would anticipate they would be excited too. That's good. Dr. Smith?
Oh, I was just going to say, I think it's important to probably bring that person on more in summer, so that usually schools start in August, because I think it's important for the board members to really be a part of that opening of the school, and then that those new board members really being a part of that team, that board team, prior to school starting. So again, I would look at July, something like that, and then August, really cohesive board presenting themselves to the school.
So we use the June and July timeframes. And anybody feel like, I want to hear from the others too, stair-stepped or grouped together? Brett?
You mean whether it's
like as we discover them, do we try to begin to train them? And then even if they've sat in waiting till we, you know, greenlit them, you know, in July or early August?
Well, it's important to have odd numbers.
Okay.
For voting purposes. So, you know, we may be doing it in 2s. I think it depends on how many candidates we have. You know, obviously, if we have a really strong candidate, you know, we don't want to delay it too long. if there's nobody else that we want to bring on, we don't want to hold them up entirely. So I think it probably depends.
Okay. Edward and Ethan and Miller.
I liked over the summer, but I think also, and I know we're discussing it here sort of informally, but I think I would just like it to that parents know, okay, we have these people or this person or that are coming on. Now, like you said, the line waiting, I think that's what you just mentioned. So, I mean, we haven't said that yet, but I would like parents to know, okay, we have this person or these people and they're coming on the board. They will be on the board. They're just not there yet because we're going to wait until, June or July, do some training and then introduce them officially, before school begins in the summer, fall.
Do you think it would be helpful for parents to know who's in the pool of consideration, who's in the interview stage, or do we keep that kind of just private and let the people tell their own story?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the whole idea of expanding the board and people wanting to get on the board should be fairly transparent in that, like, really anyone who wants to join the board who's a parent should be allowed to say, hey, I want to join it. Here's my resume. And then that goes to the governance committee. And then we take those necessary process steps that we already have set in place. Now, I don't think we necessarily need to say who the people are directly, but we could say we have, a couple of parents that we're considering, and then we have a couple of parents or a parent or an outside person that is going to be coming onto the board at some point in and set a date, have it more sort of, I guess I'm just trying to say, like, have parents informed of the process from, sort of the beginning and, but not any sort of, somewhat anonymous, not stating who the people are necessarily, but something like that. I just want parents to know that action's actually been taken, because right now we're talking about it, but parents might think, oh, well, they said maybe in the summer, but if we say, hey, we have people and, one or two are parents and et cetera, we're just not saying who they are yet, but they're coming, then I think that'll give parents a little bit more hope.
No, I like that. And I think as parents understand and fellow board members understand, candidates, you can engage candidates initially and then make myself aware, since I chair the governance committee, and then I'll start the process with the other additional board members. Currently, there's two interviews that have occurred. One is a parent, one is an educator outside of our school at this moment. And so there is movement already. And so, but again, we're going to shore up the informal process of exposing them to the board to a more formal process. Ethan, your thoughts?
I thank you so much. Absolutely agree to bringing them on during the summertime. What Dr. Smith said, so they feel there's a cohesiveness as a part of the team before the school begins. I echo Brett's sentiment as well, where it's just we don't want to force it, but glad to hear as well. This is the first time I'm hearing there are interviews or introductions there are a pool of candidates already, and really excited to, when appropriate, to chat with them and see what they bring, the value they bring. And I'm very, very excited, especially educators, for sure. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Dr. Smith and Miller. Miller, did I give you word on this one yet? Let's have Miller and then Dr. Smith wrap it up.
Yeah, I mean, this is a good news. So I'm with new people to coming in and then to help, and then also helping the school to sustain and then succeed. So I think truly summertime is the best time that, for them to enroll and then to interview, and then but at the same time with training. So I totally support other board members' view. And I think we want to find the right person. That's the most important thing. Yeah.
The process for starting that really begins now. We as a board making that decision to add to our board, and then outlining and identifying that, and then sending out those notifications to allow people to, again, apply for that, And then it takes time to screen through those and then to begin the interview process, to then begin to select them and have them ready in June or July. June, probably preferably, so that there can be plenty of time for training, and then also some meeting times for the board to get together and really get to know one another and talk about some top issues for the school and what our vision is and how we would like to get there for the next school year. So, and then again, starting very cohesively in August when school opens.
Very good. And Mary Beth, I'll reach out to you and update you on what's happening currently and ask you to help me a little bit chronicle our process and gather as people submit interest, we'll keep track. And if we request of them, anything in the way of a letter of interest or a resume, if they have a formal resume, and so that we can begin to expose the board on a collective basis too. But thanks for always helping with my endeavors. You double dip. You work leading the office, but then also supporting this board, and we're grateful. That brings us really no action. I don't see any action on that one. It's just discussion, so we don't need public comment necessarily. And we've heard, I think, ample public comment on that, and they're responding to that. That brings us really to the end of our meeting, unless anyone has a board recommendation for our superintendent or our principal that I could carry forward. Any recommendations tonight? Oh, hello, Dr. Scott. Thank you for staying on so late. Principal Chung, oh, you guys are warriors. I know you start at the crack of dawn. I don't hear any recommendations. Let's move to but hey, it's an opportunity, Dr. Scott, if you just wanted to say hello or anything, no recommendations. How are you doing? I'm having trouble hearing you. Anybody else having trouble hearing?
Can't hear you. Let me try again. How about now?
There you go. Beautiful. Principal Chung, be in the wings there just to say hi.
I think it's wonderful what you're enacting and the progress the board is making to help the school grow. And really appreciate every one of you that's been involved through the process. As Miller mentioned, 3 or 4 years now, you've been active in helping. And I don't think everybody understands. Well, I just know one thing, say about Miller. The school that he helped in China, that principal became awarded the Chinese Principal of the Year out of 100,000 principals. I mean, it's just amazing the experience that people are bringing to the sport that is not known. Thank you so much for all you're doing.
Thank you. Principal Chung, can't miss a night without saying thank you and hello to you.
Thank you, everyone. My thought at this point is that I know we're being audited by OCDE, and my understanding is that next week they're going to have a board meeting, and they would like to know what action has been taken at our school, that they will see a hope for us to move forward and make improvement. So for this board meeting, I know maybe a lot of discussion has not been shared, but I do want to let the board know that maybe parents would like to hear more so that they won't be disappointed, because at this point, we do have competitors. For example, we have Irvine Chinese School opening the brand new Mandarin immersion program. So that would be an option, a big competitor. And second one is that we have the best school district next to us, IUSD. Parents can just enroll their child there. So I think the board members do need to know that urgency, that parents want to see the change, the improvement. Otherwise, once they leave, they will not return. So I would like our board members to know that.
Thank you. Thank you. And we did invite our Orange County Board of Education into our closed session, just so people know. Great. Then I'll ask for a motion adjournment, as I get ready to do that, I do want to pause and just say thank you again to all the parents who participated and those who watch this video later on as well. It's 10:20 p.m. and that doesn't escape my notice of your commitment and dedication. So thank you, and thank you, board members as well. Motion for adjournment, please.
Motion.
Thank you, Glenn.
second.
Second. Dr. Smith got the second, and so I'll do the roll call. Brett Freeman.
Aye.
And Glenn Rogers.
Aye.
Miller Zhang.
Aye.
Dr. Jolene Smith.
Yes, let's adjourn.
Doug Husen is a yes, and Ethan Kay.
Aye.
And Dr. Edward Watson.
Aye.
Well, thank you, everybody. Mary Beth, you can turn the recording, and thank you for all of your help tonight too. I'm sure we'll see each other online or in person soon, everybody.